Dr. Amy Richardson was drinking her third cup of coffee when the universe changed forever. She sat in the control room of the Arecibo Radio Observatory, watching the same screen she had stared at for 15 years. The green lines moved across, the monitors in their usual random patterns, showing nothing but cosmic background noise. Then everything went silent. Amy almost dropped her coffee mug as every single radio telescope on Earth suddenly picked up the same signal at the exact same time. The computers started screaming with alerts. Numbers flooded the screens faster than she could read them. Her hands shook as she reached for the emergency phone. "This is Dr. Richardson at Arecibo," she said when someone picked up. "We have a code black situation. Every telescope on the planet is receiving the same transmission." Within minutes, calls were flooding in from observatories across the globe. China, Russia, Australia, Chile, everyone was getting the same signal. But this was not random noise from space. The signal was mathematical, precise, and clearly artificial. Someone was trying to talk to Earth. Amy worked through the night with teams of scientists around the world. The message was complex but followed patterns that human mathematics could understand. As the hours passed, the meaning became clear. Someone had sent Earth a message, and they were not friendly. By morning, the decoded message sat on the desk of every world leader on Earth. President Lisa Hayes read it 3 times before calling. An emergency meeting at the White House. The words were simple but terrifying. "Primitive species of Sol 3, your expansion ends here. Submit to Galactic Authority jurisdiction or face consequences. You have 30 rotations to comply." The message came with star charts that showed every human settlement beyond Earth. Mars colonies, Europa mining stations, the generation ships heading to other star systems. Whoever sent this knew exactly where humans lived and how far they had spread into space. Commander Jake Phillips arrived at the Pentagon still wearing yesterday's uniform. He had been working for 18 hours straight since the signal first arrived. As head of Space Command's defensive operations, he knew this meeting would change everything. The Situation Room filled with the most powerful people on Earth. Presidents, prime ministers, generals, and scientists all sat around the same table. The fear in their eyes was obvious. Humanity had always wondered if aliens existed. Now they had their answer, and the aliens wanted them to surrender. What do we know about them? President Hayes asked. Dr. Kate Morrison, the head of xenobiology research, stood up with a tablet in her hands. "Based on the signal analysis, they have technology far beyond ours. The fact that they can coordinate signals to reach every radio telescope simultaneously suggests computational power we can barely imagine. They also demonstrate knowledge of our solar system that indicates long-term observation." General Ryan Torres, the head of Earth's military space program, slammed his hand on the table. "They have been watching us like bugs under a microscope, and now they want us to roll over and die." "Maybe we should consider their offer," said the Secretary of State. "If their technology is so advanced, fighting them could mean the end of humanity." "The end of humanity?" Torres laughed, but there was no humor in his voice. "Look at this message again. They call us primitive. They give us 30 days like we are children being punished. These are not the words of someone who wants to negotiate. These are the words of someone who sees us as insects." Commander Phillips nodded. "I agree with General Torres. This is not a diplomatic contact. This is a threat. They are telling us to stop expanding into space or they will stop us themselves." President Hayes looked around the room. "What are our options?" "We have 3 choices," Torres said. "We can surrender and hope they treat us well. We can try to negotiate and hope they listen, or we can fight." "Fight?" The Chinese premier looked shocked. "With what? You just said their technology is far beyond ours." Torres smiled for the first time since entering the room. "That is what they think. That is what we want them to think." He pressed a button on his tablet, and the wall screens lit up with classified files. Images of massive space stations, weapon platforms, and ships that officially did not exist filled the room. "For the past 10 years we have been preparing for this day," Torres continued. Not because we knew aliens would threaten us, but because we knew that sooner or later, someone would try to stop human expansion into space. Whether it was aliens, rogue nations, or our own governments, we prepared for war. The room fell silent as everyone stared at the images. Weapons that could crack planets. Ships that could travel faster than anything publicly known. Defenses hidden throughout the solar system. Dr. Morrison spoke first. These projects, they violate every international treaty we have. Treaties written when we thought we were alone in the universe, Torres replied. Now we know we are not alone. And we know that our neighbors want us to stay in our cage. President Hayes studied the screens. How long do we have? 30 rotations likely means 30 Earth days, Phillips answered. They are giving us a month to decide. And if we fight and lose? Torres shrugged. If we fight and lose, we die? As free humans, if we surrender, we live as slaves. I know which one I prefer. The debate continued for hours. Some argued for immediate surrender. Others wanted to try diplomatic contact. But slowly, support grew for Torres's position. The aliens had made their intentions clear. They saw humans as primitives who needed to be controlled. As the meeting ended, President Hayes made the decision. That would change human history. We will not reply to their message. Let them wonder what we are thinking. Use these 30 days to prepare our defenses. If they want to fight, we will give them one they will never forget. Amy Richardson watched the news that night from her apartment. The president announced that Earth had received a message from space, but the details remained classified. Amy knew the truth. Humanity had 30 days to prepare for war. She looked up at the stars through her window. Somewhere out there, alien ships were probably already moving toward Earth. They expected to find a primitive world ready to surrender. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Image. Description for Leonardo a tense scene inside a high-tech radio observatory control room at night with Dr. Amy Richardson, a middle-aged woman in a lab coat, staring in shock at multiple computer screens displaying strange mathematical signals and waveforms. The room is filled with blinking lights. Multiple monitors showing radio telescope data and coffee cups scattered around. Through large windows, radio telescope dishes are visible against a starry night sky. The atmosphere is dramatic with blue and green lighting from the screens illuminating her worried face. The overall mood is suspenseful and scientific, suggesting humanity's first contact with alien intelligence. 3 days after the alien message arrived, Dr. Kate Morrison stood in front of a room full of military officers who thought they knew everything about Earth's defenses. They were about to learn how wrong they were. What I'm about to show you is classified at the highest levels, Kate said as she walked to the front of the underground briefing room. For the past decade, humanity has been preparing for war. Not against other humans, but against exactly this situation. She pressed a button on her remote, and the lights dimmed. The wall screen came alive with images that made the officers lean forward in their chairs. Massive space stations hidden in asteroid fields. Weapon platforms disguised as mining equipment. Ships that looked nothing like anything in the public fleet. Project Prometheus, Kate continued. Named after the god who stole fire and gave it to humans. We have stolen the fire of the gods and made it our own. Captain Matt Stone sat in the front row, his jaw hanging open. He had commanded destroyers in the Earth Defense Fleet for 8 years. He thought he knew every ship, every weapon, every defense platform in the solar system. The images on the screen showed him that the real fleet was 20 times larger than anything he had imagined. Sir, Matt raised his hand, these ships, some of them are bigger than anything we have ever built. How long have they been under construction? Kate smiled. Captain Stone, construction began before you graduated from the academy. We have been building in secret for 15 years. Every asteroid mining operation, every deep space research mission, every routine cargo run has been cover for the largest military construction project in human history. The next image showed a cross-section of what looked like a standard cargo ship, but the walls peeled away to reveal weapon systems that could level cities. Hidden missile bays, energy cannons, and armor plating that could stop nuclear weapons. The colony ships that left for other star systems were not just carrying settlers, Kate explained. They were carrying the components for planetary defense. Systems. Every world that humans have reached is now a fortress. Meanwhile, 300 million miles away on Mars, Colonel Ben Harper was having a very different kind of meeting. He stood in the main control room of the Olympus mining complex, but the people around him were not miners. They were soldiers disguised as workers, and the equipment they operated was not built for digging. How long until the railguns are ready? Ben asked his chief engineer. 48 hours, sir, the engineer replied. The mining lasers have been converted to targeting systems. The ore processors are now ammunition factories. And the mass drivers that we used to send materials to Earth can now send projectiles at enemy ships. Ben nodded as he looked at the tactical display. Mars had been humanity's first colony, but it had also been designed as humanity's first fortress. Every piece of equipment on the planet had a secondary military purpose. The terraforming machines could be weapons. The atmosphere. Processors could create defensive clouds. Even the farming domes could be converted into bunkers. What about the other colonies? Ben asked. Europa Station reports ready in 72 hours. Titan Base is already online. The asteroid belt installations have been active for 6 months. Back on Earth, engineer Ashley Grant floated in zero gravity inside the most secret construction facility humanity had ever built. Hidden behind the moon, the Luna shipyards had been building humanity's ultimate weapon for 5 years. Ashley ran, her hands along the hull of the ESS Retribution, a ship so large that it had its own gravity field. The dreadnought was over 2 miles long and carried enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. But it was not just one ship. It was the flagship of a fleet that existed only in the deepest black projects. Hull integrity check complete, Ashley reported into her communicator. All weapon systems are online. The antimatter containment units are stable. She is ready for combat. Copy that, engineering, came the reply from the bridge. Captain Barnes wants a full systems test in 6 hours. Ashley smiled as she looked through the porthole at the construction bays around her. Dozens of ships floated in various stages of completion. Destroyers with cloaking systems, cruisers with energy shields, fighters that could travel faster than light. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species that had barely left their home planet. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for interstellar war since before they sent their message. On Earth, the governments of the world worked together for the first time in history. President Hayes coordinated with leaders from every nation as they activated protocols that had been planned for years. Military units that officially did not exist moved to positions around the globe. Scientists who had been working on civilian projects suddenly revealed that their research had military applications. Dr. Morrison stood in the Pentagon War Room, watching as reports came in from across the solar system. All deep space installations. Report ready, she announced. The asteroid belt defense grid is active. Mars Fortress protocols are in effect. General Torres studied the tactical display that showed the real strength of human defenses. How long until they arrive? Based on the signal delay and assuming faster-than-light travel, we estimate 2 weeks, Phillips replied. But we will be ready. As the days passed, something strange began to happen. Human activities in space suddenly went quiet. Communications between Earth and the colony stopped. Energy signatures from human installations disappeared. To any observer, it looked like humanity had simply vanished. This was not surrender. This was strategy. On Mars, Ben Harper watched as the last of the mining equipment transformed into weapons. All units. This is Mars Command. Operation Silent Night is now in effect. All colonies are now dark. Maintain radio silence until the enemy arrives. Similar orders went out across the solar system. Europa Station shut down all external communications. The generation ships traveling to other stars activated stealth systems that made them invisible to sensors. Earth itself began broadcasting false signals that made the planet look abandoned. Ashley Grant finished the final preparations on the ESS Retribution as the massive ship powered down to minimum systems. Around her, the entire Luna shipyards went dark. To alien sensors, the moon would appear to be nothing but a dead rock. The trap was set. Humanity had received the alien ultimatum with 30 days to surrender. Instead of replying, they had spent those days preparing for war. Every human settlement, every ship, every weapon was now hidden and waiting. The aliens had called humanity primitive. They had demanded surrender. They had given humanity a deadline. That deadline was now 3 days away, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy what primitives could do when someone threatened their home. Captain Stone sat in the command chair of his destroyer, now revealed to be far more powerful than any alien database would suggest. Around him, his crew made final preparations for a battle that would determine the future of human civilization. They were no longer the primitive species that the aliens expected to find. They were humanity unleashed, and they were ready for war. Image description for Leonardo AI. A vast underground military bunker with Dr. Kate Morrison, a professional woman in military uniform, standing before enormous holographic displays showing secret spacecraft blueprints and weapon schematics. The room is filled with shocked military officers sitting in rows, their faces illuminated by blue holographic light. The displays show massive space battleships, hidden orbital weapons platforms, and advanced military technology. The atmosphere is dramatic, with military lighting, classified document folders scattered on tables, and the overall mood suggesting the revelation of humanity's secret arsenal. The scene conveys military preparedness and technological superiority hidden from the world. Grand Admiral Vexthal stood on the bridge of his flagship as the Zephyrian Imperium fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. 200 warships, each one capable of destroying entire planets, formed a perfect battle formation behind him. "Scan the system," Vexthal ordered his tactical officer. "I want to know where these primitives are hiding." The admiral had commanded fleets for over 3 centuries. He had conquered 47 star systems for the Galactic Authority. Primitive species always reacted the same way when faced with superior force. They either surrendered immediately or tried to hide until the inevitable defeat. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "I am detecting no energy signatures from any human settlements. Mars appears abandoned. The asteroid mining stations show no activity. Even their home planet Earth is broadcasting minimal signals." Vexthal smiled. The humans had chosen to hide. It would make the conquest easier, but also more boring. "Begin scanning for life signs. These primitives cannot have gone far." What the admiral did not know was that Captain Nicole Barnes was watching his every move from the bridge of the ESS Retribution. The massive human dreadnought hung invisible in space, hidden behind stealth technology that made it undetectable to alien sensors. "Admiral Torres, this is Retribution," Nicole spoke into her communicator. "The enemy fleet has arrived. 200 ships, just as intelligence predicted." "Copy that, Captain," came the reply from Admiral Torres, hidden deep inside the asteroid series. "Mars Command, are you ready?" On Mars, Colonel Ben Harper watched the alien fleet through sensors that the aliens could not detect. The red planet looked abandoned, but beneath its surface, weapons that had once been mining equipment were now aimed at the enemy. "Mars Command." "Ready, sir," Ben replied. "Railgun batteries 1 through 40 are locked on target, waiting for your order." Nicole looked at her crew on the bridge of the Retribution. These men and women had trained for this moment their entire lives. Around her ship, the secret human fleet waited in perfect silence. Destroyers, cruisers, fighters, and support ships that officially did not exist. "All ships, this is Admiral Torres," the voice came over the fleet communication system. "For 30 days, these aliens have assumed we would surrender or run. Today, we show them what happens when someone threatens humanity. All units prepare to engage." Nicole activated the fleet-wide broadcast system. Every alien ship in the system would hear her next words. "Attention Galactic Authority Fleet," she said, her voice calm and clear. "This is Captain Nicole Barnes of the Earth Defense Force. You sent us a message demanding surrender. Here is our reply. The first attack came from Mars. Colonel Harper's railguns fired in perfect coordination, sending projectiles across space at 20% of light speed. The solid metal rods, each one weighing several tons, struck 3 alien ships before their shields could activate. The ships did not explode. They simply ceased to exist, reduced to expanding clouds of plasma and debris. What was that?" Vexthal shouted as his tactical display showed 3 of his ships vanishing in seconds. "Unknown weapon type, sir," the tactical officer replied, his voice shaking. "Projectile velocity exceeds anything in our database for this species." Before the admiral could respond, space around his fleet filled with human ships. The ESS Retribution decloaked directly in front of the alien flagship, its massive bulk dwarfing even the largest enemy vessels. "Impossible," Vexthal whispered. "Our intelligence showed they barely had space travel capability." Lieutenant Kyle Davis piloted his fighter through the chaos of battle, his squadron streaking past alien ships that fired desperately at targets moving faster than their weapons could track. The human fighters were small and quick, armed with weapons that cut through alien armor like paper. "Fox Squadron, this is Davis," Kyle spoke to his pilots. "Target their weapon systems first. Let's see how tough they are when they cannot fight back." The alien ships tried to return fire, but their energy beams passed harmlessly through space where the human fighters had been moments before. The humans moved with impossible speed and precision, their ships dancing around the slower alien vessels. "Sir," the alien tactical officer reported to Vexthal, "their technology exceeds our projections by several centuries. These ships should not exist." On the asteroid series, Admiral Torres watched the battle unfold on his command screens. The asteroid looked like any other piece of space rock, but inside it was the most advanced command center humanity had ever built. "Phase 2, Torres ordered. "Activate the belt defenses." Across the asteroid belt, hundreds of mining platforms revealed their true nature. What had appeared to be simple rock processing equipment were actually weapons platforms that had been waiting for this moment. Energy beams lanced out from hidden installations, striking alien ships with devastating accuracy. Captain Barnes smiled as she watched alien vessels burning around her flagship. "Retribution to all ships. Target their command vessels. Let's end this quickly." The ESS Retribution opened fire with weapons that violated every treaty humans had ever signed. Antimatter torpedoes streaked toward the alien flagship, while energy cannons that could melt mountains turned their attention to the enemy fleet. Vexthal watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by creatures he had dismissed as primitives. Ships that had conquered star systems were being destroyed by weapons that should not exist. "Send a message to Galactic Command," he ordered desperately. "Tell them we need reinforcements. These humans are not what we expected." "Sir," his communications officer replied, "all our long-range communications are being jammed. We cannot contact anyone outside the system." The admiral realized with growing panic that the humans had not just prepared weapons for this battle. They had prepared a trap. His fleet was cut off, surrounded, and being systematically destroyed by an enemy that was supposed to surrender without a fight. Lieutenant Davis and his squadron finished destroying the alien fighter screen and turned their attention to the larger ships. "All fighters, form up on me. Let's show these aliens what human pilots can do." The small human fighters moved through the alien formation like sharks through a school of fish. Their weapons found weak points in alien armor that should have been impossible to penetrate. Their pilots flew with skill that seemed to defy physics. Colonel Harper's railguns continued their deadly work from Mars. Each shot was perfectly aimed, striking alien ships at their most vulnerable points. The weapons that had once moved asteroids now moved enemy vessels into expanding clouds of debris. "This is impossible," Vexthal said as another group of his ships vanished from his tactical display. "How did primitives build such weapons?" "Admiral Torres answered that question from his hidden command center. Retribution, this is command. You wanted to know how primitives fight. The answer is simple. We do not fight fair. We fight to win. The battle that was supposed to be a simple conquest had become a massacre. The mighty Galactic Authority fleet, which had never known defeat, was being destroyed by humans who were supposed to be too primitive to pose a threat. As more alien ships burned in the cold vacuum of space, one message echoed across all frequencies. It was Admiral Torres speaking for all of humanity. You called us primitive. You demanded our surrender. You thought we would be easy prey? Today you learn what it means to threaten Earth. Welcome to human space. Enjoy your stay. Image description. For Leonardo AI, a massive space battle scene with Captain Nicole Barnes, a confident woman in a military space suit standing on the bridge of an enormous human dreadnought. Through the large viewports, alien warships are exploding in brilliant flashes of light while sleek human fighters dart between them. The bridge is filled with holographic tactical displays showing the battle, with crew members at control stations. Energy beams and projectiles streak across the star-filled space outside. The atmosphere is intense and victorious, with blue and red lighting from the displays illuminating determined faces. The scene captures humanity's technological superiority and military prowess in their first major space battle. Grand Admiral Vexthal watched his fleet burn as half of his ships lay destroyed around him. The battle had been going for 3 hours, and the humans showed no signs of slowing down. His tactical officer counted the losses with a voice full of disbelief. Sir, we have lost 112 ships. The humans have lost 3 fighters. Vexthal could not understand how this was possible. His fleet had conquered entire star systems. These ships had weapons that could destroy planets, yet the primitives of Earth were tearing them apart like they were made of paper. All remaining ships fall back to defensive formation, he ordered. We need to regroup and call for reinforcements. What the Admiral did not know was that reinforcements would never come. Lieutenant Jenna Parks sat in a secret facility deep beneath the surface of Earth, her fingers flying across keyboards that controlled the most advanced computer systems humanity had ever built. Admiral Torres, this is Cyber Command, Jenna reported into her headset. We have complete control of their communication networks. Every message they try to send is being intercepted and blocked. Their home fleet thinks everything is going according to plan. Jenna smiled as she watched alien communication protocols scroll across her screens. The aliens thought their encryption was unbreakable. They had no idea that human computers had been built specifically to crack alien codes. Every secret, every battle plan, every piece of military intelligence was now in human hands. Copy that, Lieutenant, Torres replied from his command center. What about their fleet positions? We know the location of every Galactic Authority ship in this sector of the galaxy, Jenna answered. Their defense grids, their supply lines, their patrol routes, we have everything. As the alien fleet tried to retreat toward the outer system, they ran into humanity's next surprise. Captain Tyler Brooks had been waiting behind Jupiter for 6 months with a fleet that should not have existed. All ships, this is Captain Brooks, Tyler announced as his fleet emerged from Jupiter's radiation shadow. Welcome to the party. Sorry we're late. 50 human warships appeared where the aliens expected empty space. These were not the ships that had fought in the inner system. These were different vessels, larger and more heavily armed. Ships that had been built in secret shipyards that the aliens had never detected. Tyler stood on the bridge of his flagship, the S Thunderbolt, watching as his fleet took position to block the alien retreat. Target their engines. We want some of them alive to tell their friends what happened here. The alien fleet found itself trapped between 2 human forces. Behind them, Captain Barnes and the Inner System fleet continued their relentless attack. Ahead of them, Tyler's fleet waited with weapons charged and ready. Sir, the alien tactical officer reported to Vexthal, we are surrounded. Unknown human fleet blocking our retreat route. How many ships? The Admiral asked. At least 50, sir. All of them larger than anything in our database. Vexthal realized, with growing horror, that the humans had not just prepared for this battle. They had prepared a trap that spanned the entire solar system. Every move his fleet made had been anticipated and countered. On the research vessel S. Darwin, Dr. Emma Watson activated humanity's most terrifying weapon. She had spent 5 years developing technology that was originally designed for construction projects in space. Now it would be used for destruction on a scale that would make the aliens tremble. Darwin to all ships, Emma announced. Deploying. Nanobots in 3.2. Release. Thousands of tiny machines, each one smaller than a grain of sand, spread out from the research vessel. They moved through space like an invisible cloud, seeking out alien ships with programming that had taken years to perfect. The first alien vessel they reached was a destroyer trying to escape toward the outer planets. The nanobots landed on its hull and immediately began their work. They did not explode or burn through the armor. Instead, they began taking the ship apart one molecule at a time. Within minutes, the destroyer simply fell apart. Its hull plating separated into individual atoms. Its weapon systems dissolved into their basic elements. The crew inside had time to send one terrified message before their ship ceased to exist. "What kind of weapon is this?" Vexthel demanded as he watched 3 more ships disintegrate before his eyes. "Unknown technology, sir," his science officer replied. "It appears to be some form of molecular disassembly device. The ships are being broken down at the atomic level." More clouds of nanobots spread through the alien fleet. Emma had built billions of the tiny machines, and they worked with ruthless efficiency. Ship after ship simply came apart as the nanobots found weak points in alien materials and exploited them. Admiral Torres watched the battle from his command center and decided it was time to reveal the final truth to the aliens. He opened a communication channel that would reach every surviving enemy ship. "Attention Galactic Authority Fleet," Torres began. "This is Admiral Ryan, Torres of the United Earth Defense Force. You're probably wondering how primitives like us built such advanced weapons. The answer is simple. We are not primitives. We never were." He paused as another alien ship fell apart under the nanobot attack. "For 15 years, we have been preparing for this day. Not just preparing weapons, but preparing strategy. You see, you made one critical mistake in your intelligence gathering." On the alien flagship, Vexthel listened with growing dread. "You assumed that the colony ships we sent to other star systems were carrying refugees fleeing from Earth. You were wrong. They were carrying soldiers, weapons, and shipyards. Every world that humans have reached is now a fortress. Every system we have entered is now under our control." The truth hit the alien admiral like a physical blow. The humans had not been expanding randomly into space. They had been building an empire designed specifically for war against superior technology. "Those colony ships have been busy," Torres continued. "Building fleets, establishing bases, preparing defenses. You are not fighting one world, Admiral. You are fighting an entire species that has spent decades planning for this war." Tyler Brooks confirmed Torres's words as his fleet finished surrounding the alien survivors. "Admiral Torres is correct. This is Outer Colony's command. We have 47 star systems under human control. Each one has a fleet twice the size of what you see here." Emma Watson added her own contribution to the alien despair. "The nanobots you have encountered are just the first generation. We have machines that can build entire factories from asteroid materials, devices that can turn gas giants into fuel depots, technology that can construct fleets faster than you can destroy them." Jenna Parks delivered the final blow to alien hopes. "Every piece of information you have ever transmitted is now in our computers. We know the location of every Galactic Authority world. We know your military strength, your economic systems, your political structure. We know everything about you, and you know nothing about us." Vexthel looked around his bridge at the faces of his crew. Fear had replaced confidence. Panic was setting in as they realized the scope of human preparation. "Sir," his tactical officer whispered, "what are your orders?" The admiral had no answer. His mighty fleet was trapped, outnumbered, and facing technology that exceeded anything the Galactic Authority possessed. The primitives he had come to conquer had proven to be the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had ever seen. Torres's voice came over the communication system one final time. You came here thinking you would put humanity in its place. Instead, you have learned what humanity's place really is. We are not your subjects, we are your successors. Image description for Leonardo AI. A dramatic space scene showing Captain Tyler Brooks, a determined man in a military space uniform standing on the bridge of his flagship as dozens of human warships emerge from behind Jupiter's massive form. The gas giant dominates the background with its swirling clouds and radiation belts, while sleek human vessels with advanced designs spread out in perfect formation. In the distance, damaged alien ships try to retreat as streams of microscopic nanobots appear as glittering clouds dismantling enemy vessels. The bridge displays show tactical information, and the scene conveys strategic superiority and technological dominance. The lighting combines Jupiter's natural glow with the blue illumination of advanced human technology. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, Ambassador Kelly Wright stood before the Galactic Council on the planet Nexus Prime. The massive chamber that had once held representatives from dozens of alien species now looked very different. Half the seats were empty. The other half were filled with beings who looked at her with a mixture of fear and respect. Kelly was not there to apologize. She was not there to ask for humanity's place in galactic society. She was there to tell the galaxy how things would work from now on. Honored representatives, Kelly began, her voice echoing through the chamber. 6 months ago, you sent humanity a message demanding our surrender. Today, I am here to deliver our final response. Behind her stood 2 human marines in full combat armor. Their weapons were not drawn, but everyone in the chamber knew what human weapons could do. The Battle of Sol had been broadcast across the galaxy, and every species had watched the mighty Galactic Authority fleet destroyed in a matter of hours. The Galactic Authority claimed to represent order and peace in this sector of space, Kelly continued. But peace built on the threat of violence against innocent species is not peace at all. It is tyranny, and humanity does not tolerate tyrants. On the world of Kepler 442b, Commander Chris Anderson walked through the streets of what had once been a Galactic Authority military base. Now it flew the flag of Earth, and human soldiers patrolled alongside alien civilians who had welcomed the change in management. Status report. Chris spoke into his communicator as he watched human engineers working alongside alien technicians to repair infrastructure that had been damaged in the conquest. All former Authority worlds in Sector 7 are now under human protection, came the reply from his aide. Local populations report 93% approval ratings for human administration. Crime rates have dropped 70% since we took control. Chris was not surprised. The Galactic Authority had ruled through fear and oppression. Humans ruled through protection and partnership. The difference was obvious to anyone who lived under both systems. Back on Earth, Dr. Dan Miller led a team of scientists who were studying captured alien technology. But they were not just copying what the aliens had built. They were improving it, combining alien science with human innovation to create things that neither species could have built alone. The alien faster-than-light drives are impressive, Don explained to his research team, but they are also inefficient. By combining their space-folding technology with our antimatter reactors, we can build ships that travel 3 times faster than anything the aliens ever made. Around him, laboratories buzzed with activity as human and alien scientists worked together. Many of the aliens were refugees who had fled the Galactic Authority years ago. Others were former Authority scientists who had defected once they saw what humanity offered. Dr. Miller, one of his assistants, called out, "The new communication array is ready for testing. We should be able to contact human fleets in other galaxies within the hour." Don smiled. Humanity was not content to dominate just one sector of space. They were already reaching out to the stars beyond, spreading their influence across the universe itself. On the military base outside Washington, General Alex Murphy oversaw the integration of alien refugees into human society. Thousands of beings from dozens of species had asked for protection from their former governments. Humans had welcomed them all. How are the Andorian families adapting? Alex asked his staff officer as they walked through the refugee settlement. Very well, sir, the officer replied. Their children are attending human schools, learning alongside human kids. The adults are contributing their technical knowledge to our research programs. Many have already applied for human citizenship. Alex nodded as he watched alien children playing with human children in a nearby park. This was what the galaxy could be when fear was replaced with cooperation. When tyranny was replaced with freedom. In the presidential palace, President Hayes signed the document that would reshape galactic civilization. The Soul Accords established Earth as the dominant power in the local galactic sector and set the terms for how humanity would interact with other species. Article 1, Hayes read aloud to the assembled diplomats and journalists. All intelligent species have the right to expand and develop without interference from other civilizations. Article 2. Any species that threatens the freedom of another will face the full military response of the Human Defense Force. The Accords were not a treaty between equals. They were humanity's terms for galactic peace, backed by the most powerful military force the galaxy had ever seen. Dr. Amy Richardson, the same scientist who had first detected the alien message 6 months ago, now worked in a facility that monitored communications across dozens of star systems. Her job had changed from searching for alien signals to coordinating the vast network of human colonies that now span multiple sectors of space. Dr. Richardson, her assistant called out, we're receiving surrender requests from 3 more Galactic Authority strongholds. They want to negotiate terms for peaceful transition to human administration. Amy remembered the fear she had felt when that first alien message arrived. The aliens had demanded humanity's surrender and threatened consequences if they refused. Now it was the aliens who were surrendering, one system at a time. As she worked, Amy could see through her office window the construction of humanity's newest project, a massive space station that would serve as the capital of human space, a symbol of humanity's rise from a single world to a galactic empire. The final scene of humanity's transformation came from the same place where it had all begun. The radio telescopes that had once searched desperately for signs of alien life now broadcast humanity's message to the unexplored regions of the galaxy. The message was simple, but it carried the weight of humanity's new position as the galaxy's dominant power. This is Earth calling to any civilization that can hear this message. We are humanity, and we now control this sector of the galaxy. We know you are out there, watching and listening. We want you to know that we are coming to meet you. The message paused, and when it continued, there was steel in the voice. We hope you will choose to be our friends. We welcome peaceful contact and cooperation with all intelligent species. But if you choose to threaten us or any species under our protection, you will discover what happened to the last civilization that tried to give us orders. The message ended with coordinates for human diplomatic stations and an open invitation for peaceful contact. But underlying every word was a clear warning. The galaxy had tried to put humanity in its place. Instead, humanity had taken its place at the top. Kelly Wright concluded her speech to the Galactic Council with words that would be remembered for centuries. The age of the Galactic Authority is over. The age of humanity has begun. You can join us as partners in building a better galaxy, or you can stand aside and watch as we build it without you. But you will never again threaten us or any innocent species. That time is over. As she left the chamber, the remaining alien representatives sat in stunned silence. The primitives from Sol 3 had become the masters of known space. And across the galaxy, new human fleets were already heading toward the next cluster of stars, carrying humanity's message of strength and protection to whatever waited beyond. The galaxy had sent a message. Humanity had replied with firepower. And now the galaxy belonged to humanity. Image description for Leonardo AI. A majestic scene showing Ambassador Kelly Wright, a confident professional woman in formal diplomatic attire, standing at a curved podium addressing a vast alien galactic council chamber. The chamber has tiered seating filled with diverse alien species. Some seats empty, with ornate architecture and holographic displays showing human-controlled star systems. Behind her stand two imposing human marines in advanced combat armor. The lighting is formal and governmental, with blue and gold tones, conveying authority and diplomatic power. Large windows show a starfield with human spacecraft visible in the distance. The overall atmosphere suggests humanity's rise to galactic dominance and their new role as the galaxy's ruling power.